Good evening. We'll call the Tuesday, September 16th, 2025 council meeting to order at 6 p.m. If you will please rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. I'll note that Councilmember Tolet is on excused absence tonight. Item 1, public comments and announcements. At this time, we would like to listen to any member of the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes for each speaker. Shall be limited to city business or city-related business or matters of general public interest and shall not include any personal attacks or abusive language. All public remarks should be addressed to the chair. Comments should not be directed toward individual council members, city staff, or other members of the public. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, members may not discuss or take action on any item that has not been posted on the agenda. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly into the microphone before making your comments. Thank you. I assume the microphone's on.
Yes.
Okay, it appears that the microphone's on. Thank you. First person on the list is Kelly Stewart. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's not on.
It was on. Is it green?
On now?
You're on.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kelly Stewart. I did not plan to speak tonight, but I feel compelled because yet another slanderous post was made today. Whether or not my name was explicitly written in this post, it is clear who is being targeted. Once again, it came from Jesse Jones, a Parks Board member and president of the Coastal Garden, a 501c3, a nonprofit that operates on city-funded, city-owned property. I want accountability for this. I want a public apology from Mr. Jones. I also want from you, Mayor, the mayor who represents me and every citizen here, and yet you have made disparaging comments about me and others. I cannot understand why 2 grown men in leadership positions are so intent on tearing citizens down. Mayor Sweeney, you've claimed that you realize that some people thrive on conspiracy. If that is true, tell us what you mean. Define them. Be specific. Otherwise, those words are nothing more than innuendo meant to discredit citizens. And finally, I'm asking for public acknowledgement that I was singled out by you, Mayor.
This sounds like a personal attack, Ms. Stewart.
And targeted.
Please refrain from that.
And targeted. And the targeting did not just remove me. It ultimately resulted in the dissolution of the entire committee. This is a pattern of behavior and not leadership. It is intimidation and it must stop.
Again, that was a personal attack and not allowed in council chambers. Michaela Rios.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, barely.
Can you hear me
I
now?
don't think it's on.
Oh,
I don't think it's
the battery
dying, not dying.
Sorry, somebody's going to
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay,
Are you ready?
is this working? No. Okay, let's try. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, council members. I wanted to just come here tonight to introduce myself. My name is Michaela. I live in Seabrook on Aspen Lane, and I'm here to just talk about the ongoing conversation regarding the Seabrook skate park. I know at the last city council meeting, a young boy and his father spoke up, and they were able to highlight some of the physical issues with the park, including safety concerns, and the father that made those comments, he had also mentioned For the Love, a local nonprofit skate organization, and I'm also here on behalf of that organization as well. A few friends and my husband and I actually co-founded that organization, For the Love Skate Ministry, a couple of years ago with the intention to foster community and share the love of Christ with local skateboarders at local skate parks. We host fun competitions, and we are able to give away hundreds of skateboards and product for free over the past several years. Skateboarding, like most sports and hobbies, has a way to bring people together. At skate parks, I've seen kids who are shy finally find their place where they feel like they belong. I've seen teens encourage each other, teaching tricks and building friendships that keep them out of trouble and give them something positive to focus on. Even parents come out cheering and connecting with each other and getting involved in the sport. What's exciting is that we've already built this strong foundation, the passion, the participation, and the energy. And what we need now is a space that matches that energy here in Seabrook. A new skate park would give kids a safe, designated place to ride and progress instead of skating in parking lots or streets or begging their parents to make the 30-minute drive to another park. It would be a lasting investment for Seabrook, one that supports youth health, keeps them outdoors, and fosters creativity and community for years to come. Skate parks are unique because they're used by such a wide range of ages and skill levels, from little kids just learning to balance, like my 3-year-old son, to adults who have been skating for decades, like my husband and his friends. Once built, they're relatively low maintenance compared to other recreational facilities, so it's truly a long-term win for the whole community. I have been working on researching funding options and reviewing available grants and the requirements, and I'll be working on compiling that information and would be happy to present it to you all, as well as the Parks and Trails Committee, and explore what opportunities are available. Thank you for taking your time and continuing the conversation about what a new skate park can mean for our community.
Thank you. Okay, Aiden Rios.
Good evening. My name is Aiden Rios. Just want to thank you all for y'all's time. I'm here for the same reason as my wife. Y'all just met her. We live on Aspen Lane. I am a co-founder of For the Love Skateboard Ministry. Sorry if I'm a little nervous. First time I've ever done this. So first and foremost, through my almost 20 years of skateboarding, I've learned that it's 100% a community-based sport. With our skateboard ministry, we hone in on that community aspect to share a positive message as well as give back to the local skaters. But here in Seabrook, our current skate park just isn't in a usable state for that community to grow. Local skaters often leave Seabrook to use better, safer skate parks nearby. Our skate park isn't drawing families or encouraging new skaters. It's underused because of safety and design issues. Personally, I would like my kids to grow up skating here in their own neighborhood. I can see the park from my driveway, so it's really, really close, which is nice. A good local park would let me teach my son and daughter and give other families a safe and fun place to skate. I would like to appreciate the previous efforts for the skate park and renovations that have been made prior. I remember when I was probably 10 or so, you guys had, I guess, changed some of the transitions, making it a little bit easier to skate. Definitely does help. While there were good steps taken, I would say they're only partial fixes, and in my opinion, the park cannot be fixed as is. Overall, the layout and the condition make it just overall hard to skate and kind of unenjoyable. So what we would like to see is a full redesign and rebuild, a true skate park that can serve the community for years to come. A proper skate park would keep skaters local, build community, and give kids a healthy and creative outlet. Thank you for considering this. I'd love to work with the city to make this happen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Joe McCall.
Okay, first off, we have number one I have on my list is a good job on the streetlights. The streetlights have been fixed all along NASA 1 and along where the traffic circle is, so that's a good job. A lot of the street signs are up. Last time I was here, I talked about street signs, about 45 of them, and I would say a majority has been put up. Ones I've noticed that aren't there right now are Dolphin and Elmar along 146, so that might be the next couple ones to get up. The memorial looks great. It was by there today again, and always that park looks really good, along with the gazebo looks really good. So kudos to all the people who do that work. The ditches and the pipe that were right around here that I talked about, that's all been fixed. They cleaned it out. One of the things that I forgot to mention was, and I think they did this, I didn't see them do it, but they're all cleaned out, which is good. But every year you have to use the fire hydrants. You have to, flush them out for 30 minutes at a time about. And when you're doing that, why not kill two birds with one stone by putting a hose on it and then clean out the pipes and ditches that are there? It's you can get that done. It helps. But by the way, it looks great. It's a good thing. We got this about flood safety, and in there's actually a paragraph, I think it's 8, talking about make sure you keep your ditches and pipes clean too. So great job. Glad this is all getting done. The other thing we were talking about, and it sounds like money's coming up as an issue, but I listened to the last meeting, and they said I think the city has about approximately 120 employees. It could be a few more, could be a few less. But we're spending $15 million on those said employees. That's an average of $125,000 per employee. That's expensive. I've talked to a bunch of people in different cities, and they're going, wow, you guys are way up there. So it's just something to think about. And they got a 6% raise. And they've gotten raises every year for the last 8 years. So it's a pretty big deal. The land on Nassau Road 1 where the boat trailers are, that does not look good. That's got dilapidated fences. It's got some, it was like the stuff that's supposed to keep it hidden where you can't see into it, but that's been all torn up by the wind. So that would be a next project I would like someone to look into about getting that cleaned up, because I think that needs a little bit of work. And then on the pier, I saw this. And yes, I was on council. One of the things, the $2.4 million was to remove all the pilings, put cement pilings in its place, and then use that new plastic wash-through decking. Well, that was just a look to see. It came back at $2.4 million. Of course, we're not going to do that. Again, in January, I talked to a pier company he's the one of the premier pier guys around. He said, our pilings are good. He's got his own engineer. You don't need to get your own engineer. He has to sign off on it. He's going to do it, and then you guys could sign off on it. His engineer is going to tell you either you can or you can't. And then you can use the casings, the snap jackets, around the pilings, and then the pier could be built. He said it for less than $1 million. And again, I just think you guys need to talk to that guy, because that guy has the answers. And he said, anybody trying to put cement pilings in and all that, he goes, there's no pier in this whole area. And yes, any big storm, it's going to tear down the pier and you're going to have to rebuild it. That's part of owning a pier. So I think the pier can get done, and I hope it does. Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Jim. Okay. Item 1.1, Mayor, City Council, and/or members of the city staff may make announcements and about city or community events.
All right, upcoming events. We have the Seabrook Saltwater Derby, which is a fishing tournament that's taking place on Saturday, September 27th at 5:30 a.m. at Barge 295, which is 2613 NASA Parkway. For more information on that, you can visit SeabrookSaltwaterDerby.com. Our next event here, we have National Coffee with a Cop Day. Coffee with a Cop aims to build stronger relationships between the police department and the community by providing a unique opportunity for residents and visitors to connect with local law enforcement officers in an informal, friendly setting. Our National Coffee with a Cop Day is on Wednesday, October 1st at 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. over at the Community House. And our last event here, we have National Night Out, which is an annual community building campaign that promotes police, community partnerships, and neighborhood camaraderie to make our neighborhoods safer and a more caring place to live. Our National Night Out is Tuesday, October 7th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in your local neighborhood. More information on that is at seabrooktexas.gov/NNO. To learn more about any other upcoming events, you can visit our website under the events page and any of the Seabrook social media. Anything else?
I have one event, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
The fire department, so every month that we have 5 months, we typically host a blood drive for the Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center. This month, because of the ongoing construction that's about to begin at the fire station, we are relocating our blood drive this month. It will be on Sunday, September 28th, from 12 to 4:30 p.m. Over at the community center. There will also, and a lot of people don't know, Seabrook locally has a few residents that have childhood cancer and other diseases that have been affected and have needed to get blood transfusions. And a couple of those citizens will be out there at the blood drive as kind of a way to say thank you for those that are out there. And I believe a couple of the parents are also working on having a little bit of like war games and cornhole games out there. So if anyone's able to attend that day, we greatly appreciate it.
Anything else? Thank you. Item 1.2, City Manager Update and Report to City Council on various items that require no action, including Seabrook Boards and Commissions, transportation projects, and City of Seabrook CIP projects.
Mayor and Council, since your last regular council meeting, your Parks and Trails Committee did meet on September 4th to continue the conversation on $160,000 for the Keep Texas Beautiful grant. They're continuing to work with staff and the TxDOT representative on the bidding process. We are looking to, if we can manage it, to do a survey publicly for some of the sculpture ideas that were recommended by the Parks Board. So we're hoping to get that survey out and then go back to TxDOT to figure out the bidding process and next steps. They also discussed a possible new trail segment along Red Bluff. That would be the extension of Red Bluff for the port project for Southern Access Road. We're anticipating there could be some construction closures in the future next year. So that was just a staff recommendation to look at possibly including a new trail segment that would wind around Red Bluff and over towards Bayview. The board took a look at it, but did not make a recommendation at this time for a new trail segment. So we'll continue to work with the port and find out if there's going to actually be trail closure impacts. The Economic Development Corporation, I know there was a lot of questions on the Pomodoro's application that was not heard on September, but they'll be coming back on October 9th. Annual report was given by the Economic Alliance by Chad Burke, and then the Administrative Services Agreement by the EDC was approved and will be coming over to City Council. Your Building and Standards Commission, which has recently met yesterday, they looked, as you recall, there was 3 properties that were up for possible demolition. The small waterfront properties that were on waterfront, both of those are now down, and they're substantially compliant. There's a residential property on Baywood. There was an order issued for demolition on that. So on the owner, if for some reason that's not compliant, then it'll come back probably to council. The large waterfront property that's on the piles, if you've noticed, the top of it is gone. They are due back before the Building and Standards Commission on October 28th to evaluate the remaining part of that structure and demolition. Your Planning and Zoning Commission met on the 18th, and they looked at a conditional use permit by Seabrook Cheese Company for an open air market and approved the request. They also discussed the hazardous materials for fencing with no recommendation to make any changes in that section of the code. For transportation projects, I mentioned what we're referring to as Southern Access Road. That's the port extension of Red Bluff into Bayport Complex. That's working with Harris County on that transportation project. The port is reporting that they are in full design, and they're anticipating by Q1 of 2026 to be 100% done with design, and will announce their bidding schedule after the first of the year. Staff will continue, again, to monitor this project as there will most likely be impacts to our hike and bike trail in that area. The rail spur, we recently put out a press release on the rail spur, working with the port to get information on that. We understand that the Federal Railroad Administration has not returned final information on the quiet zone in which the city is the applicant in our city limits. And so we'll stand by to understand when that they might release those car activity in that area. Moving on to our capital improvement projects, we have a couple of water projects we've been reporting on, what we refer to as the GEON, and then the water line interconnect off Old 146. Unfortunately, at this time, those two projects are on hold while the city is going to be working with the city of Pasadena for connections. And Seascape Waterline Project is continuing to move forward. They're making connections on the houses right now off North Heron. Our wastewater treatment plant over here on Main Street, we're still wrapping up the final plans to go out to bid on that one. So we've got just a couple more steps. We're getting very close. And then we've got a couple wastewater projects. Both of these projects have exposed wastewater lines that hang on a bridge. And so both of these projects were scoped to bore that wastewater line underneath at the Toddville Bridge and then over by Pier 8. So we do have some concerns that have kind of, not really concerns, but some questions that have popped up on right-of-way and some easements. So we're working through those. Those have kind of slowed down at this particular moment as well. Our pool project, as a reminder, not significant update on this, but we're in full design on the pool. You guys have approved also building plans. So we've got a structural engineer looking at renovations for the structures as far as the buildings. So we'll hope to have some more updates here in the next couple of months on the actual pool. Generators are going in. We now have a schedule for City Hall. We'll have a new generator that was on HMGP grant, and then the fire department generator. And our EMS expansion, it was kind of mentioned earlier. You guys have gotten in your inboxes now that we, on the 26th of September, have a groundbreaking ceremony now scheduled at 3 o'clock with the contractors. And hopefully most of you can make that groundbreaking ceremony as well. Our Carruthers Garden trail system, the grading and drainage project is now underway. That one is got a contractor fully mobilized out there. The drainage swell on the south side of the property is the phase that he's in right now. Tennis court base has been pulled, so there's a lot of activity going on. East Meyer is fully under design. That we've taken that in-house for a city design project. No word back on our street project for North Meyer reconstruction design with our county partner. Our fire training tower, we've gotten a finalized bid that will be coming back to council on October 7th. So you'll be making a decision to move forward on the next step on the fire training tower. And lastly, the community house remodel. This hasn't been on the radar for a while, but we do have that on the current CIP. So we are moving forward on some upgrades to that building. If you've noticed, we've yanked all the landscaping on the outside of that in preparation for an external paint job, and we'll be moving internally soon. That concludes my report if there's any questions.
Do we have any update on Margarita Joe's? It seems to be the popular thing on Facebook these days.
No more than what I have seen on Facebook, which is sometime at the end of this month. But the only thing I can tell you is in our last conversation, he would like to open on a Monday is the only thing that he's confirmed. But I have no further update than that.
Yes. No.
Okay, so I got to go in and look, and I'm super stoked, y'all. It's really cool. But what I wanted to tell you is they aren't going to do a soft opening where they like open it up to everybody. They're going to do family and friends first, and then following that, they'll do their opening. So I do know a little bit more than that, but yeah, I didn't hear about the Monday though. But they're fully staffed and ready to rock and roll, so I'm excited for them.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Item 2, presentations. 2.1, presentation of the monthly financial report for August 2025. Mike?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we'll be going through our August financial report, our general fund overview. Our revenues through August are just over $15 million in collections. This is $840,000 below our budget. Our Key shortfalls there are property and sales tax, along with license and permits. Our expenditures are at 13.3 million, under budget by 1.7 million. This is largely due to openings and personnel, people leaving, things like that. Our projected fund balance is just over $10 million, 673,000 over budget. Some of our major strengths are our charges for services and fines in our revenue section. The enterprise fund, August revenues were 11.6 million, below budget by $1 million. Our expenditures came in at 11.4 million. Those two were under budget by 788,000. Our projected ending fund balance is 2.26 million. Weaknesses there are just lower water and sewer revenues. And our strengths are controlled expenditures and services. Hotel motel tax is still showing to produce above our budgeted numbers by $80,000. Our revenues through August were $684,000. Expenditures are under budget by $81,000. They came in at $363,000. Our ending projected fund balance is $685,000, which is $165,000 over our budget. Again, our key takeaway there is the hotel occupancy tax. The collections have been stronger than what we budgeted for. EDC is also running above budget in the revenue section. They're at 1.2 million. Expenditures are under budget by 1.2 million, largely due to variances with services, lower service costs, as well as some projects not being fulfilled during this budget year. Our ending fund balance is just shy of $5 million. Crime District is slightly under budget. Revenues came in at just over 1 million. Expenditures are under budget by $107,000. 953,000 in total expenditures through August. We are projecting a ending fund balance of 1.7 million. And again, that's maintaining a healthy fund balance. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
On the EDC,
Yes.
and this might not be the right place to discuss this, but I feel like it is for some reason right now. So we have a lot. This looks like EDC has 4.8 million to give out to a layperson. Okay, so I would like to be able to showcase the encumbered funds piece of what we have promised out, such that people understand that that's not necessarily money that can be gotten from anybody. That is money. A lot of that money is encumbered for future projects. So I don't know if that's something we can incorporate. I just think that there's a lot of misunderstanding and misrepresentation in the community of what EDC does and how much money we have. For you, that's absolutely 100% dead on correct and accurate numbers. I'm not saying your numbers are off, but I am saying to a layperson who said, well, look, EDC's sitting on 4.8 million, but we're not, but we are. Does that make sense? I don't know how
Yes,
to illustrate that with this, and if this might not be the way to do it. So
I think I have had this conversation with the EDC board, and we've kind of shown a projected
Sure.
multi-year financial report for them, which kind of earmarks that.
Yeah.
The problem with saying, oh, we only have $1 million right now, is it takes away from the fact that each and every year we're getting $1 million going back into that.
Right.
And so, again, when you look at the 5-year, I think it's a 5-year projection that we have all the different funds that have been earmarked for certain projects. Again, that's when we expect those funds to be spent. And so
Correct.
we're also budgeting
All right.
not only those expenses being spent in those years, 27, 28, but also we're showing the trend of the revenues coming in to
Okay.
kind of offset that.
Oh, it does.
So it kind of, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I could certainly
I don't know.
give
This
y'all
probably
more
isn't the-
numbers. This just is kind of where we're going to end this year.
It's a great overview and
Potentially.
it's super high level. And I hate to say, hey, give us a high level and then, hey, where are the details, which is what I just did.
It's all right.
But we, no.
So maybe we can have a conversation with Paul.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, we can, maybe it's an EDC update from Paul. Maybe that'll fix it, not on this report. Never mind. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, we're going into a La Nina winter, so hopefully our water bills will be higher.
I certainly don't wish higher water bills on anybody, but there is impact on the budget.
Usage, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Mike. All right, make sure I didn't miss anything. Item 3, consent agenda. Item 3.1, approve the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Councilmember Hammond.
Second.
Motion.
Second.
Councilmembers Kubana seconds, and all in favor. And unanimous. Thank you. No opposed. Item 4, new business. Item 4.1, consider and take all appropriate action to acknowledge the receipt of the certified appraisal roll from the Harris County Appraisal District. Really? Thank God.
They do exist. Or you-
Although I think they changed their name to the Harris Central Appraisal District, didn't they? I think I heard that
I
somewhere.
missed that.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, there was some debate on their new name here recently. But Mayor and Council, just as part of the taxation process, we're bringing this before you just so that we did acknowledge that we got the final rolls in and amounts, and just asking for council to acknowledge that by a motion. There's not really much discussion on this other than to acknowledge. We'll get into the good stuff here in a minute.
I need a motion to accept item 4.1.
Move to accept 9.41 as presented?
Second.
Councilmember Hammond makes a motion to accept 4.1. Councilmember Sanford seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. Item 4.2, consider and take all appropriate action on the approval to accept the 2025 no new revenue and voter approval rates into the official record as calculated in accordance with Texas tax code. Is that the short sheet? Yeah, that's all a short sheet.
That, we've got a couple of attachments on this item. Mike is going to just kind of guide you through a little bit of information, how we get to the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate before you actually take action on that.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So in your packet, you have the state worksheet. Again, we're required to run the no new revenue rate calculation. It's prescribed by state statute. They have provide a worksheet that we calculate off of. We're required to calculate off of. This generates our no new revenue rate. Again, the idea behind the law on this calculation is to try and draw a comparison to the same values, or excuse me, the same properties that were on last year's tax roll as well as this year's tax roll, and not kind of look at any new annex properties or new developments as you're coming up with that tax rate. So the idea behind it is that your the no new revenue rate ought to show what we, the city, need to collect in property tax to collect the same revenue on those same properties. So that's a little long-winded way of saying that's what the calculation does. It generates our no new revenue rate as well as our voter approval rate. As y'all may or may not be aware, our property tax rate is a two-part tax rate. It's made up of our maintenance and operations. This portion of the tax rate funds our general fund. The second part is our interest and sinking rate, which services our debt service fund. That is our bond debts, certificates of obligation, those types of things. I guess I jumped the gun. The no new revenue rate, again, it's a calculated tax rate that will derive the same revenue on properties from last year's roll and as well as this year's roll. The voter approval rate, which also comes out of the state tax worksheet calculation, is the maintenance and operations times 3.5%, which is the state cap, plus the INS rate, which again is the required rate needed to fund the current year's debt obligations. So when you add those two rates together, that is your voter approval rate. Anything over the voter approval rate, the city would have to go out to an election in November. We're not in that situation. This year, one of the new standards or requirements is the taxpayer impact statement. Again, that wants to look at the average homestead property value. Last year it was $303,000. This year it's $317,000. As you can see, there's an increase in the average taxable homestead value. And what they want us to show is the comparison between what our prior year tax rate was, which is the 45.5 up on the screen, multiplied by the 317,000 average home value, and then do a comparison between the no new revenue rate, which is 0.428, as well as what we are proposing for our 25-26 budget, which is 0.464152. And as you can see, the difference between the no new revenue rate on both the prior year is $85, and the proposed tax rate is $114 more. Here is some of the comparisons on our tax rate. As you can see, the top line, the property tax rate, 0.455 was last year's tax rate. We're proposing a tax rate of 0.46152. The no new revenue rate came in at 0.428233. And our no new revenue on our maintenance and operations is 0.338026, which is actually down from the previous year of 0.01. Our INS, or debt service rate, we are proposing is 0.126. That is where you'll see the 2-cent increase to fund our current year debt obligations. And again, when you add that up, the calculated voter approval rate is, 49 cents there. Here's just a slide we like to show kind of how our property tax rates have declined over the years. Looking back at 2015, we're at 64 cents, and our current proposal is 0.46.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, the motion to consider for this item is Mike's calculation per the worksheet for the no new revenue rate and the official voter approval rates. In Coral, there are the numbers that have been translated from that slide. Council's in agreement, then this is just as a guide for the motion.
Any questions for Mike or Gail? If not, then we need a motion.
Okay, I move to accept the no new revenue rate and voter approval rate as presented.
Second.
Okay, so the Councilmember Hammond made a motion to approve to accept the 2025 no new revenue rate, 0.428233, voter approval rate, 0.495770, into the official record as calculated in accordance with Texas Tax Code. Councilmember Sessom, seconded, sorry, I wasn't here. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Item 4.3, consider and take all appropriate action on approval of the proposed 2025 property tax rate and call a public hearing on September 25th, 2025. A record vote is required. You recall that we called a public hearing for another item last time. We're going to have the same public hearing on the same date for this new item. September 25th, right?
Is that going to be moved?
I'm sorry.
September 25th, that was the date we voted on the last meeting to have.
Correct, for the
Same date.
budget
both.
public hearing.
We're doing both same date, yeah.
But I think we're looking at October 7th for the public hearing on it? Or is it the budget? Okay.
Yeah, we,
September 25th on both.
yeah, we have a window for publication.
We
We
have to
may
have
have to, yeah, change that, but we can make it for the 25th.
Sorry, yeah, I'll be the same.
Okay, I move to approve the proposed tax rate of 0.464152 and call for a public hearing on September 25th, 2025.
Councilmember Hammond makes the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Cabana makes the second. Do you need me to repeat the motion, or you got it on the screen? You're good? Okay. A record vote is required, just like last time. Councilmember Cabana, yes? Councilmember Sanford?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Tolet is absent. Councilmember Cervantes?
Yes.
Councilmember Sissom?
Yes.
And Mayor votes yes. That is unanimous. Thank you. We're now on item 4.3. Nope, we did do that. Okay. Item 4.4. Consider and take all appropriate action on a one-year contract extension agreement between the City of Seabrook and First On-Site Restoration. Thank you, Mike, for post-disaster restoration recovery services and authorize city manager to execute the contract. We have not heard from First On-Site, so we're pulling this from. Moving to item 4.5, consider and potentially approve all preliminary actions related to placing a ballot measure on the May 2nd, 2026 election for Seabrook voters to authorize a bond for the construction of Pine Gully Pier. Buddy and Tom brought this forward. Tom's not here, so.
Okay, and I put this on the agenda for a couple of reasons. One, if anybody read the mayor's post on social media, which was very detailed and gave a good explanation that there's not buckets of money laying around the City Hall for the pier. But we have an election coming up in May, and this will give an opportunity, if the majority of the citizens, want to put it on a bond, then they'll have an opportunity to voice their opinion. And that's why I think it would give us one more option, give the citizens one more option to speak and pay for the pier.
Anybody?
Yeah, so I wanted to address a few comments that have been made on social media that were actually not correct. Texas Parks and Wildlife offers up to $1 million. I approached Gail shortly after being elected in June and brought the grant to her, was told she would send them an email that she had communicated with them previously several years ago, and I kind of let it go thinking that she was going to do that. So I'm actually very frustrated because that's up to $1 million that we missed out on. It wasn't until 2 days or 3 days before the grant deadline that I approached Gail again and said the deadline's up in 2 or 3 days. And to which she responded, well, we have to have that matching money in order to apply. This is the first time that was told to me. Back in March, when the city applied for a matching grant from Harris County, Gail Cook brought that item up to council and said, I need you guys to agree to come up with half the funds in order for us to apply for that grant. So back in March, council agreed to come up with the funds for a matching $1 million grant from Harris County. So I'm very frustrated that we're at this point, and that there's misinformation being spread about that because I was personally a part of those conversations. I don't believe that the citizens want to pay more taxes. I think that we've arbitrarily allocated some of those UTI funds without considering the pier or keeping that in mind. We also unanimously, Jim, you stated, Buddy stated, let's get together with EDC and ask them for funds to assist with the pier. That never happened. I approached Gail Cook and said, what's the situation? What did EDC say? I was told that EDC had no interest in helping to fund this pier. So the fact that we're bringing it to a bond, it feels kind of like a cop-out, and we're gonna get a no vote. It's gonna be a false no because the citizens, they want the pier, they don't want the taxes. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, so I have a couple of notes because I spent quite a bit of time on this. And on the grant application for Texas Parks and Wildlife, on the front page in bold print, it says you have to have a 50-50 grant in place before you apply. So you should have known that if you investigated this. The second thing is the Harris County grant was if the second grant for the construction was if Harris County agreed to that grant, which they did not. I've spoken to them twice. I called them again today. They don't have the money. They don't have the grant money. They don't have the general funds money to support this. They would like to, if they can possibly do that. And as far as a false no, I mean, if the citizens vote no, the citizens vote no. I don't understand how it's a false no.
So you kind of skirted over exactly what I said.
I haven't skirted over anything.
Well, you did. You did in that.
Enlighten me.
In March, council voted to come up with the partial funds.
But the county doesn't have the money to match.
But Texas Parks and Wildlife, according to you, according to Gail, required that we have the partial funds available. In March, council voted to have the partial funds available. So I'm not missing anything. I did my research and I trusted that the city manager was going to do what she told me she was going to do.
Did we have the funds available? Were they pulled from somewhere?
Explain which grant you're talking about.
The original discussion that you brought to council in March was for the Harris County grant.
Okay, so any Harris County grant will have a resolution. Are you talking about the $1 million grant? Okay, so again, it's a 50-50 grant. Before we bid the pier in 23, it was estimated that the pier reconstruction was going to be $1 million. The resolution, if in the body of the resolution, if you read down there, says that the city would do 50%, Harris County would do 50%. 50-50. $500,000 is what the city council at that particular moment was committing to. We bid the project. The project was over $2 million. The county was then instructed, we have a $2 million. $500,000 is what you put in the grant partnership application to the Harris County Partnership Grant. And they said that they're not able to do that. $500,000 is on the table. We didn't have the matching funds to proceed with the difference, and that was that grant.
So the bid was in 2023. The meeting that I'm referring to was in March of 2025.
So that would be the demolition resolution for 440?
No, there was a new resolution that you brought to council to apply for a Harris County grant in March of 2025.
For the 25 grant partnership. Right.
If I may, look, I'm just trying to get this on the bond election for the folks to be able to have a voice. This council has the authority to pull this later. You can say, yeah, we'll do it now. We can have all these conversations and iron out what, when, and where, and how as we go forward. But this is just an opportunity to be a bit transparent and let our citizens get involved. And that's all I'm putting it to.
Here's my concern. My concern is like, and I totally agree with Councilman Hammond about getting the public's input, the public's vote on what they have it. My concern is, I would surely hope to believe that the vast majority of our citizens do not feel like our police department needed a new police station. And I feel like there was a lot of, a lot of the rhetoric and a lot of the opinions that were on social media kind of like steered people kind of like away from the main issue at hand of our police department needs a better police station. They need better facilities to be able to do their job. And my fear, my concern is that we're not really going to get a true feedback and a true opinion of the voters, because I feel like they're going to look at it as nothing more than, oh, this is just a higher tax increase, to go forward with this bond. And then, the difficulty of getting a bond approval from the bond council of the dollar amount for it too. Those are my big concerns with it, is that, like I said, I think everyone knows that, everyone wants a pier. The biggest reason, the biggest, I think, it's confusion now is trying to find the funds. And like I said, my concern is if we go out to vote with it, that the voters aren't really going to say, yes, we want a pier, that the vast majority of the voters are going to say, I don't want to, have added to our tax base. And so that's my concern with going forward with a bond.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing to consider with a bond this small, honestly, is that we will get a terrible bond rate. It will wind up costing probably twice, the cost of the bond. So I'm not saying I'm in favor of the bond. I'm not. But it is option C or D or E. I mean, if everybody wants the pier, and if we're going to do the pier, and we have no other choice, Gail and I have reached out to our congressional representative. They're searching the Library of Congress database for grants right now. I spoke to Dennis Paul today. He's researching additional Texas Parks and Wildlife potential grants and other grants at the state level. Again, I reached out to the county again today. We reached out to the port, and the port has a program that they're putting together. We haven't heard anything about that yet, but we're doing everything that we can think of to try to find the money so that we don't put the burden on the taxpayers. That's not what we want to do. This was just if we don't have any other choice, and if we still want to do it, let's let the citizens decide if they want to.
We're not waiting until we only have a few weeks to get it put together. That way it's not hastily put together, so I applaud, Councilman Hammond for putting it on the agenda, so that way we can go ahead and, we can go ahead and have the car loan, if Elon Musk wants to throw $5 million at us, and we'd be able to pay it off sooner without any issues. So just in case he's listening to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and the final part of it is, again, we have an election in May, and then we don't have an election for 3 years. So that's why I put it up.
And we don't have to make a decision today, right? I mean, we have time, and again, to your point, that's why I brought it up. But I mean, honestly, there could be somebody in this town who wants to leave a legacy and has, whatever, $2 million that they'd like to, and I know someone that I'm talking to. So if anybody else has any contacts, I think we're trying every avenue.
May I? Okay. So first off, this isn't a Gail issue. This is an issue with failure to inspect what you expect. So to throw her name out there like that when she has a million things on her plate, I find wrong. Secondly, I'm not convinced that we've exhausted all the options on the cost of the pier. My understanding, and please feel free to jump in and correct me, the $2.4 million included demolition and included a raised pier with an architect firm that we, as previous council, not us, but previous council, stated we want it higher, we want it built better and made to last. Correct?
That's
correct. The $2 million. That's correct. Okay.
Yeah, the architectural firm was approved by council, and that was the direction given to raise the elevation of that pier, yes.
Okay. So that being said, we need to look at apples to apples and go, okay, here's the pier that we were quoted for. Here's what we can afford. Here's the matching programs, if they are from Councilwoman Cervantes, if there are matching programs in existence still, then we look at it and go, okay, how much are our building costs? How much is this? And we get multiple bids based off of that requirement on what we can do within our budget. Does it have to be the $2 million pier? And I understand, because the rhetoric is that we could build 5 piers over and over again for $2 million if we did a $400,000 pier, just shooting in the dark. I know that that's probably next to impossible to do. The reason the pier is so long, my understanding is because let's look at doing a shorter pier, less materials, less issue, less labor, et cetera. But if we do that with low tide, we don't have fishermen that can actually fish off the pier because they're fishing in the mud. So we have an opportunity to do more, I think, more inspection on the actual material costs and labor and everything that goes into that. Plus with the bonding and insurance they're going to have for the project when they come to the table. So I know there's been talk about doing it for $148,000. That is, I'm sorry, I don't see it happening, but I would love for that person to insure that and bond it and bring it to the city and say this is how we do it. So if we are going to do this, which I'm in favor of rebuilding the pier, not in favor of a bond, but I think it was a valid thing to bring up right now. But we got to look at it in a much more holistic approach than I think that we have as this council, just to reconsider our options and see if there's something else we could do differently.
Well, Mayor and Council, I can certainly bring back, I mean, we can't price out anything without plans. So I think the question on the table is, does this council want me to bring a proposal back for a redesign of a shorter, less marked up type design? We can do that. If council would like, we can get another architectural proposal.
I don't know that I want to spend the money on that since we've already spent the money on stuff just yet. I'm kind of curious to see what LaPorte comes back with their RFPs that are out with the rebuilding their pier. But I'm just putting it out there that there's other ways that we can look at this. We don't have to do this right now. But I don't know that I want to spend money on the new design and all that either.
Well, since I had a question, is actually a comment that somebody made. Since it's been 3 years since we've gotten those bids, could we open an RFP to get a new set of bids? And
On the
see-
same specs, the same specifications?
Just to see?
Just like it was?
You can. The contractors, based on this public conversation we're having right now, will understand we may not have the money. So usually when they put in a bid, it's good for 30 to 60 days.
Isn't the other problem with that is that if we do put out the RFP and we don't have the money for it, which we're still figuring that part out, they put everything out there on the table and it could make them look unfavorable moving forward
It's
if their
prob-
prices are higher.
Right, it's probably
later.
not best practices to,
Okay.
I mean, if that's the idea, was to just bid it constantly, I mean, we're probably gonna lose bidders.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because it takes money to put together a bid.
Sure.
You have your engineers, your architects, and everybody else on an hourly rate. So what they'll do is they'll make a courtesy bid, and that courtesy bid will be numbers you can't even add up.
So to tag on to that question, if and when we decide to move forward, we will put it out for another RFP? Is that
we're
accurate to say?
ready. I mean, your drawings are ready to, all we have to do is put a cover packet and we can bid it at any time. The question is council, if you guys will just, if you can tell us where the funds are coming, if you open those bids and you have a bid award, just need to know where you're going to pay for the project.
Well, my fear is that we vote on this to put to a bid and then give up seeking all other opportunities that are available. So that's my trepidation. I appreciate what you were doing, buddy. You know, I think you had good intention, but that's just my trepidation, is that it's going to become a cop-out and like, okay, well, it's going to a bond, so we're not going to.
All right, may I suggest then, we'll have the vote on the bond tonight. If the majority of council approves, it'll become for the May election. But subsequent to that, why don't we have a workshop or whatever that we can thoroughly vet all the grants that have been gone back and forth, the EDC money, where it all is, what's encumbered, what's not encumbered, all the plans, and at least come to an agreement on that.
Well, why don't we, I think we all have kind of made up our minds. Why don't we vote, we have an agenda item to make a motion on, which we don't even have a motion yet. And then if we get a second, then we'll take a vote. And then we can bring back further discussion at a later agenda item.
Okay, I move to put it on the May 2nd, 2026 ballot, a bond proposal for reconstruction of the Pine Gully Pier.
Councilmember Hammond makes a motion. Is there a second?
Can I make a motion to put it on the bond, but also to have a council meeting and discuss options? I want to make sure that happens.
I think we,
You
yeah,
can't make
specifically
it
that,
to the agenda
specifically
item.
that agenda item. If we don't have a second, then it dies if we don't have a second, or we vote no if we want to do that. Those are kind of our options.
Okay.
Hearing no second, the motion dies. Thank you.
All right, so then I can make my motion.
It's done. We're done. It's pushed. Okay, sorry, I lost my place. Please ballot, 6, sorry. Item 4.6, consider and take all appropriate action on the approval of Resolution 2025-24, authorizing the city of Seabrook to participate in the proposed opioids settlement agreement regarding the state of Texas and other governmental entities litigation against Purdue Pharma LP and its affiliated debtors for their role in the national opioid crisis, and authorizing the city manager to execute related documents. Is there anything to say about that, Ken?
No, Mayor and Council, this is a continuation. The opioid settlement agreements are coming down. Your previous council had approved a term sheet, which was about 4 or 5 manufacturers. This one does not fall under that term sheet, so the state has been pursuing cities that are interested to sign off on this additional agreement. So tonight, if you approve this resolution and give me authority, I'll sign off on this one. This, with Purdue, based on their estimate sheet, looks like about $9,000 that the city of Seabrook will get off the potential settlement on this lawsuit.
Okay, $9,000. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we enter into the agreement with the Attorney General for this current settlement.
Councilmember Sessa makes a motion.
Second.
4.6. Councilmember
Second.
Sanford seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? None. Thank you. Unanimous. Item 5, executive session. We don't have anything tonight for executive session unless a council member has something that we need to go into executive session for. If not, we'll pull the item. Okay, thank you. Item 6, open session. No, we didn't need to do that. Item 7, routine business. 7.1, establish future meeting dates and agenda items.
Mayor and council, your next meeting is a special council meeting set for next Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m. And your next regular council meeting is set for Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m.
I just had what we should discuss. That is a National Night Out, so I don't know if we'll discuss doing something different. Do we do something different National Night Out when we have a council meeting?
Yeah,
July?
we'll
Okay.
try to take everything off the 7th that we possibly can.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. There being no further business before City Council, we will adjourn at 7:03 p.m.